Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to completely open up and disassemble this 13-inch MacBook Air model A1502. This is a mid-2013. Alright, so we're going to be first using a P5 or Pentalobe 1.2. Alright, and then we're also going to be using a T5 or Torx 5 and a T8 or Torx 8. I think that's all we need, but if we need other things, then we'll go from there. Alright, we're going to use the Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver first to remove all the screws from the bottom. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that, put it flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So we have this rectangular pattern. I'm just going to remove all the screws and put them in that pattern. The two screws in the middle towards the back where the hinge are longer than all the rest, so keep that in mind. Alright, and yeah, it's always a good idea to try and keep them all in order. Even if they look the same, it's best to put the same screw back where you got it. Alright, so anyways, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, other than that, let's go ahead and continue getting all these screws and everything out. We are going to be swapping the entire keyboard palm rest assembly because they dented this thing up pretty bad. Hopefully their charge port internally is okay. It looks like a little piece of plastic on it is broken off, but that shouldn't be an issue. Okay, anyways, now that we got all the screws out, we're going to grab back here and kind of just wiggle and pull this up. And that's pretty dusty and gross, so I'm going to clean that out first. But let's actually remove the battery. Usually it doesn't really matter. And I would actually just clean this first and then remove the battery. But let's go ahead and do the battery first so that way we can clean underneath the battery as well. Alright, so there's 5 screws. We had to switch over to a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Okay. And then we'll just remove all these screws. Again, keep them all in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. And if you mix them up, you can cause damage to your computer. Okay, these 3 are about the same, but the 2 bottom here, of course, are much shorter. But again, it's always a good idea to try and keep them in order, even if they look exactly the same. Okay, this piece of plastic is broken here. You can actually throw that away. It doesn't really do anything. Or you can just keep it and put it back. Alright, anyways, to disconnect the battery, there's a little trick. You have to get underneath and lift this side of the battery up. Alright, so just like this. And then we're going to grab this connector here. Okay, and then when we grab that, we kind of just wiggle it as we pull it, and there we go. And the reason why you got to lift this up is because this cable here, if you just yank it while it's kind of resting like that, the lip of the battery can get caught on it, and I've seen where it can actually damage this cable. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to clean the dust out from here underneath the battery and everywhere, and I'll be back. Basically, I'm going to use a toothbrush, loosen up the dust, and then use my electric air blower to blow all the loosened dust away. Alright, so it's not going to be 100% clean, but all the dust will be out and crumbs. Alright, see you guys in a bit. Alright, I'm back. So, you can see it's a lot cleaner. I mean, there's still some stuff stuck on it, but I got out what I could without having to like wash it or use some liquids or anything. Alright, anyways, we got that out. Next, we're going to have to remove all the components in here. We can actually remove the speakers first. There's no exact particular order that you got to remove stuff. I always get people asking if they have to remove some component to get another component out. I mean, if you see that you have to remove it, then you have to remove it. The only thing you might want to remove first is the battery. And then after that, press and hold the power button 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This will make it a lot safer to work on. The reason for holding this is some of the capacitors hold a lot of power, and while you hold this, it actually kind of drains that power from those. This is very important for the screen. It's not that you'll always damage your screen if you don't do it, but there's a good chance you will if you don't. Alright, anyways, let's go ahead and disconnect stuff. So we got the screen latch. We're going to flip this latch up. Once we do that, grab that and pull that back. Okay, and we're going to also remove the wireless antennas here. We're not going to remove the wireless card from the board because we don't need to. Anyways, we're going to go underneath the wireless antennas and just pull the thing straight up like that on both sides. This one might be a little tough just because there's no slack here. Alright, but basically you just do the same thing, lift it straight up, and there we go. And then we're going to pull this out and we're going to get this out. So right now we're basically going to be removing the screen. Okay, Again, there's no particular order for anything. If something is on top of something else, then obviously you have to remove it first. But basically, hopefully people are able to kind of use their reasoning skills and figure it out. But anyways, we're going to pop this out. Otherwise, if you can't figure it out, I mean, you can just follow along exactly as is. All right, once we got those two connections out, we're going to kind of peel this up. I also like pulled from both corners to kind of pop that out if you need extra instructions and didn't really catch what I did. All right, so anyways, let me see, what are we using? We're using the T5 Torx 5 screwdriver. Okay, I'm going to remove the speakers just so it's a little bit easier. If you're just pulling out the motherboard, you don't actually have to even remove the speakers, but I'm just going to remove them because I think, actually, I don't even need the speakers. Okay, the replacement one has speakers. So we're going to disconnect the speaker cable. I'm going to get my fingernail under here. Let me zoom in here for you to see. All right, and I'm just going to pop this thing out. So like this. If it doesn't come out, I'll show you the way with the tool, but there you go. All right, I'll do it with the other one. Sorry, I'm trying to check if my phone is charging or something. All right, so I'll show you with this other speaker, because as you saw, I was able to do that with my fingernail. I do a lot of these stuff with my fingernails, and people kind of don't like that I use fingernails. Anyways, I'm going to use this little pointy part of this pick. You can also use the corner edge of the side of a flat end. But basically what you're going to do, you're going to get in the center of this, all right, underneath as low as you can, and then you can pop this up. All right, that's going to... I guess that's going to be a little tricky because the pointy part, I kind of dulled it a bit. So we're going to try with this part, all right? And we're just going to try and pop this up. I don't know why it's not coming up, but it should. Come on, let go. Okay, there we go. And that's what you do. So basically what you're doing is this portion here, there's a little gap. As you can see, I can get the tool underneath there. So basically you're getting under that gap and popping it up, okay? Because if you pull from here, most of the times it grips too strong, and I've seen people break the plastic part of this connector and the pins pop out. I've never had that happen, but I've seen some people do that, and I've seen where speakers have that plastic stuff missing. All right, so anyways, we got that out. Keyboard backlight, we're going to flip this latch here, okay? And then keyboard, this is the trackpad connector, but it also connects the keyboard connector to the mouse here, so keyboard and trackpad. Okay, so we got that. All right, what else? We're gonna now disconnect these cables. You want to be careful not to pinch these bent parts too much. You want to try and just pull it straight back, just like that. Since we're actually replacing the keyboard and trackpad and stuff, it's not really that big of a deal. But let's go ahead and pull this out as well. All right, there we go. Actually, we do need to transfer this thin little cable over. Okay, so the trackpad, the keyboard replacement that I have with the keyboard assembly, palm rest assembly, doesn't have the trackpad. So we're going to peel this up. Okay, so I'm going to hold on to this and peel it up. And there we go. If you want, you can take the cable out just so it's easier to work with later. All right, so I flipped that latch up, and then we're going to pull that out. And we will have to put this back in. So keep in mind, this side goes to the motherboard. This long flat side goes to the trackpad. Okay, if you, for some reason, get confused and mix it up. All right, the trackpad or the keyboard cable can be a little tricky to remove. You gotta basically push this to bow it outwards, and then I don't know how I'm going to show this on camera. Let me see what I can do. I have to hold this up, and then usually I'll get my fingernail in there, and then I'll pop the latch up in there. Okay, I don't know if you can even see what I'm doing, but basically I would get my fingernail in there. You can use a thin pry tool or something, but basically I get in there and then I pop that up. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to show you guys, so it's making it extra difficult. All right, but basically flip that up. Hopefully you can see the latch is up now. Once you got the latch up, you can grab this and kind of just wiggle it and pull it out just like that. All right, let's see, what else do we got that we got to remove? Let's work our way over to this side, because we are going to transfer over the screen and everything. You have the well, actually, let's remove this little board and this fan first. So we're going to remove the fan first using T5 or Torx 5 screws. Okay, there's 3 screws holding it in place, one on the left corner at the top, one at the right corner at the top, and then one at the bottom in the middle. Okay, again, keep all the screws in order. They are all different size, shape, and lengths, and if you mix them up, you can damage your computer. Okay, I mentioned that several times because it's very important. Okay, I'm going to get that screw out as well. Okay, Next thing we're going to do, as you can see, the fan now can kind of move. We're going to peel this rubber piece out of the way, lift this up slightly. We're going to flip this little latch, okay, just like that. Grab the cable underneath with your index finger. So my index finger is under there. Pinch it and then pull this out. So there you go, just like that. Set that aside. All right, there's so many crumbs under everything here. Is that a crumb? I don't know. Oh, never mind. Okay, that's just the ink is like, or the metal is scraped up weird or something. Okay, so we got that. We're going to take this one screw out here. I hope their I/O board is okay. This is called the I/O board, input output. All right, and it's also the charge port board. Okay, so we remove that. We're going to lift this little plastic tab. This actually connects to the microphone. So hopefully this board's not broken, because if it is, then their charge port, their microphone stuff might not work. They told me the microphone's not working, and I'm hoping it's just because they dropped it and it got damaged or something, like the microphone itself, but I don't know. We'll find out. Anyways, flip this latch up, and we'll grab underneath here, okay, and we'll pull the microphone cable out just like that, okay. Then we got this cable here. This is for the power. We're going to grab that as close as we can to the connector, and we're kind of just going to wiggle it as we pull it, and as you can see, it pops out very easily. Okay, we got all the screws out here, so we should be able to lift this, but it looks like this metal piece might be preventing that from happening. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this out. We'll find out. All right, let's go ahead and get the iSight camera or webcam cable out. Usually I'll pinch this and kind of wiggle it, but that is a little bit risky because this cable tends to hold really tight. So what I do, you can use a little plastic tool like this and kind of push each wing like left, right, like this. And there we go. Actually, this cable came out pretty easily. All right, we're going to now pull this cable out from under there, unroute it from here, and hopefully we can get this piece out. It seems like it's stuck in there from this piece is bent on top of it, as you can see. So I don't know. We'll remove the screen first and see if that helps. If anything, I might have to find a way to tilt this sideways and then hammer this. I'll probably have to use like a flathead screwdriver, put that in this little edge here, and then hammer that down. Because I don't know. See if we can remove everything else. All right, we're gonna get this heatsink piece out. So there's one T5 screw hidden under here. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead and start removing all the screws holding the motherboard in place. Got another screw here. Okay. Again, keep all these screws in order. There are a lot of them. All right. Let me get this screw out here. Okay. That. We're going to work our way over. Got another screw over here. Got another screw down here. Okay, got another screw up here. All right, and another screw down here. Okay, I think that's all the screws we need to remove the motherboard. Let's zoom out here. Let's zoom out more. Okay, and more. There we go. All right, so let's see if we can lift this out. Kind of just wiggle it. It might be stuck with some, sometimes if liquid spilled or anything in the past, it might get stuck in there. We're gonna move the speaker cable out of the way. Slowly, carefully keep wiggling it as we kind of lift it up. And then we're gonna pull this part towards myself, and there we go. And yeah, it's a little bit dusty, so we are gonna have to clean this off as well. All right, let me just brush this off into the trash next to me. Okay, and of course you want to keep yourself grounded so you don't short anything out or cause some static discharge into the board. So I actually have my knee against my metal desk to prevent buildup of electricity or static. All right, what's this crusty stuff here? I'm going to try and clean that all up. Okay, so a little dusty here, so I kind of want to clean that off. All right, this piece is coming out, so make sure this stays on. Okay, So this piece, actually, the rubber goes underneath. I don't know if you can even see that with the lighting. And then this one actually wraps around, and there's a little rubber piece that goes into the board. Okay, anyways, we're gonna set the motherboard aside. Move the trash can out of the way. Okay, I don't think we're gonna be able to get this thing out. We'll find out. All right, let's get the screen out. So we're gonna have to zoom out, and you're gonna be staring at my legs, I think. We're gonna switch over to the T8 or Torx 8 screwdriver. Zoom out a bit more. Ooh, not that much. You don't need to see all my garbage. All right, let's open this all the way, hang this over the edge of the desk, and we're just gonna remove all 6 hinge screws, 3 on each side. All right. Just like this. It helps to add thread locker to these screws when you put them back. So yeah, keep that in mind. Alright, and last one here. Alright, so we got all those screws out. Let's see if we can lift this out without this board being out. What you do now is you let the screen drop to 90 degrees, and then, yep, there you go. Alright, so we got the screen out. We're going to set that aside. Right, so many parts here, you want to be careful. Okay, and now I don't know if we're going to be able to remove this or not, but we will try. Okay, I'm going to try and just slide this back a little and wiggle it, and there we go. All right, looks like we were able to get that out. Oh no, this thing is bent pretty badly. We'll see if it works. Part of the plastic here is broken. I'm going to try and brush this off and clean it, and yeah, do that off to the side. And hopefully this charge port will still work. Okay, I'm just going to brush this stuff all off. Okay, we're also going to need the trackpad, and I think that's pretty much it. Let me actually see if this charger thing fits on it. I think it's the wider one, right? Yeah, so it's a MagSafe 2. So let's see if this little adapter fits on it, right? And it does. There is a portion of the plastic around the metal pin here broken off, all right, but it does still sit properly, so I think we should be okay. I'm going to try and clean this with a little rubbing alcohol, actually, because it looks kind of gross. I did get a tiny bit of it scraping it off into my nail, but all right, we're going to get this, and we're just going to put a dab of rubbing alcohol in there. Okay, and we'll take the charge port and we'll clean this. All right, at least a little bit. Okay. All right, you can see it's a lot cleaner now. I mean, it's not 100% perfect. The rest is like scraped, so I can't really, you can't clean a scrape off. All right, and this part's all dented, so we'll see if it's okay. Al dente. All right, let's get a PH0 or JAS0 screwdriver. We're going to basically take these screws out. I think once we get the 3 from up here out, we can actually remove the entire thing to transfer it over to the other. So let's go ahead and try and get just these 3 out and see if we can lift it that way. Because that would be the best. That way we don't have to transfer these little metal brackets over. Okay. Make sure you get good downward pressure when removing these screws, because the screwdriver seems to slip a little. So make sure you get good grip. All right, let's see if we can now push the trackpad through. So you push it up like this. Make sure this is out of the way, and yeah, there we go. So I'm going to clean up the edge around the trackpad. It looks like there might be some liquid or something in the trackpad, but this is what the keyboard palm rest looks like now. Okay, this is their old keyboard. All right, the replacement, of course, is also an old keyboard, but at least this piece isn't all bent, and you can see it's actually not as bad. It's a little bit dirty here. I'll clean that up. Okay, it looks like it doesn't really come out, so we'll leave that there. This sticker residue I can clean off with some rubbing alcohol, so we should be okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this back in. So this goes in like this, I think. Okay, so you drop the bottom part of the trackpad in. Of course, you have to lift it up though. And then these wings will kind of hold it into place. Oh, I forgot. I need to let me clean around the edges of the trackpad here. Okay. All right. So I got that. It looks like there's, I don't know if they got liquid or something. Oh, there you go. You can see like around the edges, it's like a little bit discolored. But anyways, customer didn't say anything about their trackpad being bad, so yeah. All right, we're gonna tuck this in first. All right, make sure you put it the right way. Get that in. All right, make sure the keyboard cable is on top. Let that drop into place. Good. And then also while you're holding it, make sure you can click this. If you can't click it, you want to actually check the button first by hand. Make sure it clicks, and if it does, then you'll want to if it does click but it doesn't work in here, you'll want to check this screw, tighten that or loosen it, whichever. Most likely loosen it first and then tighten it until it starts clicking. Okay. My screwdriver. All right, let's go ahead and get those tiny screws back in. Okay. Right, last one. There we go. So now we got all those screws in. We're gonna get the keyboard connector in. Make sure that latch is still up. It's a little bit tricky to do this. You kind of have to get it in at a weird angle. I don't think I'll be able to show this on camera, but I'll just record what I'm doing. So get that lined up. Once you get that lined up, you can push that in. Oh, they undid the adhesive on it, so it's a little bit weird. All right, and once you get that cable in, while you're kind of holding it up, you have to get your finger in there and slide or flip that latch down. All right, the adhesive here, they kind of separated, so now it's a little awkward. It's not stuck together properly, so I'm going to peel it apart. Make sure it looks okay, and then we're gonna now press it down this way. You don't want to crease this part too much. All right, I just left it as a loop there, as you can see. If for some reason when you put the battery on top this won't let you click, then you might want to check maybe this is pushing on it too much, because if you hold this, actually, nah, I don't think you can, this thing will be able to hold it that hard, so it should be fine. All right, what's next? We got to put the I guess, well, we can put the motherboard first. All right, so let's zoom out here. Again, it doesn't matter particularly what order. You just want to make sure nothing is like getting in the way when you put it back. But if you're not sure, you can go ahead and just follow what I'm doing. We're going to tuck this into the corner over here first. Okay, and once you get that tucked in the corner, and you also have to hold these cables out of the way, of course, the speakers and the keyboard backlight. So once you get that tucked in, we're going to slowly lower that down and then swing it over just like that. Okay, and that goes into there. If you want, you can actually put that little screw in there first. That way you don't have it wiggling all over the place. But try and make sure all the screw mounts are lined up, just like this. Okay, I think we're done with the PH0 or JS0 screwdriver. And now switch back to the T5, Torx 5. Let's get this little screw that's normally hidden in first. That way it's easier. We don't have to worry about it. Okay, I'm just going to put all the motherboard screws first just because I can. Right, again, there's no exact order to do anything. The main one is the battery, and then whatever you want to remove whenever, as long as nothing else is blocking it, go ahead and do it. All right, SSDs right here. If you wanted to replace that, you can. They actually even have they actually even have M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD adapters for these that you can use. I've heard and seen that sometimes they'll have like sleep issues though, like the computer won't go into sleep mode completely. So that's one downside I've seen with the M.2 PCIe NVMe SSDs. But other than that, they work really well, and I think they actually work faster than the original Apple SSDs. Okay, anyways, got all the motherboard screws in. Let's go ahead and start putting other stuff in. Sorry, I know it was zoomed out really far. We're gonna get the speaker cable in here. Okay, just get it lined up and click that down into place. Keyboard backlight connector, get that in and flip that latch down. All right, we can also put in the trackpad keyboard cable here. All right, we're gonna get it into this first. Make sure that latches up. Okay, and all right, get that in and then flip that latch down, and then you can stick this back down, get this latch up. Oops, sorry. Get that latch up, line it up, and push that in. Make sure that latch goes up. It goes up by itself too if it's slightly up already, and then flip that latch down. Only if it's already slightly up, all right? Okay, let's see what else we got. Let me actually zoom out so I don't miss too much. Okay. We're gonna put the fan and this board later because we do want to get the screen. Actually, if you want, you can put this in right now. Okay, so this goes in at an angle like this. All right. There we go, just like that. Make sure everything is lined up. Hopefully it's okay. It looks like it might be, it looks like this charge port thing might be bent too much. So I'm gonna see if I can somewhat bend it downwards a little. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try and bend this downwards a little bit, and hopefully those pins are intact. It looks like the plastic piece for it got completely sheared off, which kind of sucks. But all right, let's bend that down a little bit. All right, let's see if we can get this in now. It's in at an angle, and I think it's okay actually. So we'll find out. All right, so we got that. All right, so then we got the 3 for that. We're gonna put this screw down here in. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this into place and I'm gonna get this screw in. Just like that. Okay, we're gonna get this cable in. It has to go tucked between the speaker and there. And let's see, how can I show this? Hopefully this is okay. Looks like it's a little crooked, but hopefully it's making contact with all the pins. Right, we're gonna get the microphone cable in just like all the others. Make sure the latch is up. Pull the cable back. Slide it in into the slot. And while you're holding it, just slide your finger over the latch. There we go, and then tape that back down. Speaker cable, line this up, and just push that. Make sure this goes in. Okay, sorry. We're gonna now put the screen in. I was like speaker, I don't know why I said speakers. Okay. All right, we're gonna just put this back in the same way. All right. Drop this down at around the 90 degrees angle. There we go. Then lift it slightly up. I'm gonna switch back over to the T8 or Torx 8. And what I like to do is I'll just get these screws closer to the center first. Not super tight, just until it kind of stops turning. Okay. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna close the screen up. So just like this, and slowly, carefully close this, all right? The reason we're doing it slowly is because we want to make sure this thing lines up. If it's crooked, you can damage the computer if you just try and force it shut. All right, so anyways, I'm gonna line this up, make sure everything is good and properly aligned. Okay. Okay, let's tighten this down and tighten this down. There we go. All right, next thing we're gonna do, let's go ahead and reconnect all this stuff here. All right, we're gonna flip this over this way and zoom over here. Okay, so now we're gonna get this connector in to this gap here. All right, and then we're just gonna push this over like it was before and get this cable back in. This is the iSight camera. All right, if this isn't in properly, then your camera won't work. So we're gonna push that lightly, push that, and just work our way in. There we go. Then we're gonna, let's actually put the fan back first. Okay, so you have this open. We're gonna push this into here first, underneath. Get this down. All right. This cable can be a little bit tricky to get in. If you can't do it that way, you can kind of lift the thing up at an angle like this and then slide the whole thing over. Okay, and get that lined up. And once that's in, you can go ahead and again slide your finger over the latch. What's that? Something's like it making me itchy. All right, I'm gonna switch back over to the T5 for now. Let's put back the fan screws real quick. I'm going to loosely fit them first. Okay, that one, this one, and the one over here. All right, and then you can kind of pull this up into place, tighten that all the way down. All right, tighten this down, this down. Then we're going to go ahead and get that into place and pinch that. There we go. Make sure that goes in. Okay, and then we're gonna have to do these afterwards. So let's go ahead and flip this back over, and we're gonna get the hinge screws in now. So everything is lined up. All right, let's actually get that into view. And now what I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna be using some red thread locker here to secure the screws into place. Okay. So this is going to go this way. So I'm going to put this screw first, assuming it's all lined up and works properly. All right, so we're just going to get a tiny bit of the red thread locker stuff. All right, very little, not even a full drop. You can see it's only on one side. And then we're going to go ahead and get this screw in. There we go. Nice. And now I'm going to take this screw back out. Okay. We're going to flip this thing back over here. This actually tucks behind this piece underneath. All right, we're going to get a tiny bit of the thread locker again. Oh, all right. Go, and let's kind of, can we push this? Come on, get back over there. There we go. All right, then we'll get this in. And I'm going to loosely fit that first because we want to make sure both of them get in. Second one, same thing. All right, there we go. And then we'll just tighten this screw into place. And tighten this screw into place. All right, and then we can also get this cable back in. You want to tuck this into the gaps there. I'm going to actually be using 2 screwdrivers to do this. So I'll use the T5 to kind of help push it, and then the T8 to help kind of tuck it into the little grooves. Okay, so this actually goes into here. I don't know if you can see, but basically you're tucking this into the grooves. All right, this part can be a little tricky. You have to pull the rubber up slightly while you push this in. Okay, so I'm going to use the T5 to help pull that, and the other one to help pull that. So that way when you pull both sides, it actually goes underneath. All right, I don't know if you can see that. There we go. And we're going to use the T8 to kind of like just shove it down into place. It helps to kind of pull this, pull this more snug, and then you kind of work your way over. All right, we're going to get this in as well. There we go. Tuck that in. Good. Tuck that in. Keep tucking this all in. Oops, sorry, I'm going out of view. Continue tucking that in to the groove. You have to kind of bend this a little to get it to go around those screw mounts. All right, tuck that all in. There we go. Let's get the wireless antennas back into place. Make sure they go into those little notches. Those notches. All right, here we go. Let's get this lined up and make sure it's lined up. You can make sure by trying to move it around and you see it stays in place. All right, this one, same thing. Line it up and there we go. Click that into place. Good. All right. So let's go ahead now and get the screws for the side over here. Okay. Same thing. We're going to add a little thread locker to them. Hopefully the customer is not wondering why I'm taking so long, because I had to work on several others. Okay. Here we go. Tighten that in. Get the thread locker and get it on the last two. Okay. A little in there. Tighten that down. Alright, we'll take this screw out. Add the thread locker. Okay. Tighten that in. Alright. Now we got to get this screen cable in. I'm going to flip it over so it's easier for me to see. We are done with the T8 or Torx 8 screwdriver for now. And I'm switching back to the T5 or Torx 5. Let's get this cable lined up. Pull that into place. Okay. There we go, and click that down. What else we got? We got this little cable. Don't forget this, all right? It goes over the fan. Line it up. Make sure you get it the right way. You want to make sure it goes that way. You don't want to put it in like this. Okay, so make sure you get it in the right way. Click that in. You can kind of push that down and click this side in as well. There we go. Looks good. What else we got? Battery. I think that's all that's left. Okay, yeah, I think the battery's the only thing left, so let's zoom out here and put the battery back in. Alright, very simple. Just line this up, okay, and you want to hold this up just like before so you don't get it caught on that keyboard trackpad cable. Alright, line everything up, there we go. Then pinch the two pieces together. Once it's all connected, you can drop the battery down into place. I'm going to put back this little broken piece. Okay, even though it's not going to do anything. Let's see, hopefully the screw will hold it. If it doesn't hold it, then I have to throw it away. Anyways, we'll take the T5 Torx 5 screws back and get these into place. Yeah, I'm probably going to end up throwing that little plastic piece. I think it's just going to fall out. Actually, okay, it's holding itself. Alright, let's get all of this back in. And then we're going to test it, power it up, make sure everything's good. They said the microphone's not working and the charging isn't working, so hopefully it will be charging once I get this done. Okay, I don't know if this screw's going in crooked or something. It was just turning non-stop, so I think maybe oh, there we go. Okay. Then we got that, and the last one here. Alright, let's put this cover back on, and moment of truth. Let's plug it in, see if the charge light turns amber. Oh, this part's dented here from the bottom cover, so it doesn't sit 100% properly. Alright, charger, let's go ahead and get it. Let's plug this in. It's green, good sign. Go to orange, there we go. Alright, if we do, now we're going to do a Pram and SMC reset, so Control Option Shift on the left side, power button, you see it goes green, and then back to orange. That's how you know the computer is good, at least the for those keyboard keys. Alright, now we're going to do a Pram reset, powered on, Command Option P and R, hold those down. Oh, it looks like their computer's actually on already. Wait. So, how did that work? It somehow saved the powered on state, even though we did the SMC reset. I don't get how that worked. Let's try it again. Control Option Shift on the left, power button. All right, it turned itself off. Normally, when it powers on, okay, now it's showing the Apple logo. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't know how it was already logged in. That was really weird. I've never seen that before. All right, it's loading right now. I want to actually do the Pram reset because it didn't do it the first time. So right now it's loading the Apple logo there. Okay. What we're gonna do, Pram reset, once this is done, basically when you hold the command option PNR while the computer's starting, it should flash the screen off and then back on. If it makes the chime sound, it'll actually make the chime sound twice. Okay, I don't know what's going on. The trackpad doesn't even work here. So I'm wondering now, because the customer asked me if I was going to replace the trackpad as well, and now I think I see why. I asked him if his trackpad was broken, and he said no, but it does seem like it's broken to me, so like it's not responding to clicking. Oh, it's giving the Bluetooth keyboard setup thing. Yeah, I think there's a lot more that's damaged than what he said. Usually when the fan goes crazy like this, it's likely because the trackpad thermal sensor isn't being detected or working properly. So I think actually his trackpad is bad. I'm going to have to see if my partner has a replacement trackpad, but I can't get one now. It's too late. Alright, I'm going to try the Pram reset, but I don't think it'll work if the trackpad's not working. The SMC reset works, but Apple makes like some stuff get disabled if the trackpad doesn't work. Anyways, let's try Pram reset. Alright, powered on, command option PNR. Yeah, no, it's still starting up. So, okay. So I'm going to let this charge, but I think he needs a replacement trackpad, especially since I see that like ring of liquid damage looking stuff around it. Alright, I'll see if my partner has a trackpad. Because originally I told him that I didn't need one, but it looks like I am going to need one. So, let me clean this off real quick. Let's see if I can clean off this adhesive residue. Okay. Let's see if the charger is actually working now. Hopefully it will show. It's still 0%. Alright, so I'll let this charge for a bit, and I'll contact my partner, see if I can get a replacement trackpad, because I think it's the trackpad that's bad, because it is responding to the SMC reset, which is how it should, but the Pram reset isn't working. Alright, let's go ahead and, I guess I'm not going to put back the bottom screws because I'm going to have to take it apart again, but that should be simple enough. Just get the Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver and put those back. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Again, if it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. Alright, I guess I'll leave this plugged in to see if the battery will take a charge. But again, the trackpad isn't working. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Let's drop this. Bye. Alright, so it turned out I just flipped the little latches for the trackpad, cleaned it off with a toothbrush, and latched them back down, and the trackpad's fine now. So yeah, let me see if I can show without showing the username, but you can see trackpad's working. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you all next time.